Let me do this. Did that work? Okay. Does this work? Ah, here we go. Um, I'm not sure what I'm doing now. Billy told me I was on the wrong platform before, that I had to go back and do it this way. And because somebody had said, wait, no, that way, that way, that way. See, on air. So on Tuesday it was backward. Did I notice? No. Do I use words for a link? Too much, too much to take in. So here we go. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to black because Billy said you have to go to black. So count with me to 5. All right, here we go. Right, black. Oh dear. All right then. Um, I don't know if the chat is working. So somebody, when you come on here, you need to do this. Am I live? Like, did I? Am I here? No source selected. I'm streaming. Oh, it says I'm streaming. Okay. All right. This is good then. So my subject today is the stories we tell, because there's more than one way to tell a story. And yesterday, I was back in the car heading back east to meet with people to help move this whole legal, financial, tie up all the loose ends process forward. And and one of the things that I'm coming to grips with, coming to terms with, is that the process is the process. Now, sometimes it gets subverted or sidetracked or preempted by people who really shouldn't be allowed to operate heavy machinery. And sometimes it's people who just aren't in it. They're phoning it in and whatnot. Now, I don't know why that's not doing. What if I do that? There we go. I clicked a thing and it worked. All right. Okay. All right. Sorry. Um, for instance, this story about me and technology it's kind of on a one track. However, the progress, however small, however slow, is evolving. I'm sure that when Billy watches this, if he's watching it now, he's shaking his head. Yes, you're progressing, but oh my God. Snails are going past me on the throughway. Um, the thing is, the reason that technology is a challenge for me is that I'm not really I'm not really 100% focused on it, and I need to be more intelligent about it. I need to take the time and respect it much more than I do. It's not that I resent it. It's not that I don't really respect it. It's that my focus is on the content, not in the delivery, which is very odd for a performer. But my delivery has always just been me. When Billy says, "So, what do you know about cameras?" and I say, "I'm the one standing in front of him. Somebody else talented is taking the picture. I'm over here." And he rolls his eyes and says, "Okay, so we need to correct that somehow." And I'm saying, so I want to tell you a story about yesterday. So it was raining and it was windy. And so we were doing a kind of a Jimmy Buffett, as in, and then it was raining and then it was not raining. And it was a very up and down and back and forth kind of drive. And every so often, the little voice would say, "Good thing is we're on the inside where it's dry." And that's true. And I'm grateful to that dear old vehicle for carrying me forward, back, and into and out of all the storms that I have had the opportunity to be part of recently. So I met a legal person yesterday who was wonderful. I spoke to an administrative person on the phone yesterday who was wonderful. I went to the meetings with my partner in getting this work done. This lovely friend of mine who was wonderful. When I had to run errands, every single person I dealt with was wonderful. They were caring, they were compassionate, they listened, they had a sense of humor. At one point, the legal person asked my friend what he does for a living, and he said, "I babysit grown men." Technically, not untrue. And the legal person said, "What a coincidence, me too." And I was sitting there thinking, I hope that babysitting she's doing is not people who are going to be performing a function that affects this process. I hope she's talking about other people. And so the two of them had a really good laugh, and I'm sitting over there watching them and enjoying it, thinking, I'm so lucky to be part of this conversation, that I'm surrounded by people who get it and who are in it, leaning in and making the best of bad stuff and celebrating the wins. Just wonderful. And I knew that I wanted to talk about stories because today, because when I got home and I sent a message to my friend and I said, "So kind of long, 4 hours each way, 2 hours each way, plus, 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 plus." And there was traffic. I got home around 6, and so there's traffic in and out, and people who aren't paying attention, and you just, you get to choose. Every day we get to choose whether or not we see the grim side of the story, or we find something in the story that makes us smile. Even if we attempted something and it backfired, we attempted, and now we have another story to tell. So I wanted to show you something. Unpacking is I was going to say it's a little bit like Christmas, but it isn't. It's not remotely like Christmas. Unpacking is finding things you almost kind of forgot, because there was just so much, and I had so much to just get in the box and get in the truck and get out of the truck and get out of the box, that after a while, after the first 40 or 50 or 100 or 200 or 7,000 boxes, it was a mad scramble dash, because there's just so much to do, and there's only so much room we have to keep everything organized in our heads. One of the stories that I'll get to the one that's adorable, but one of the stories that I wanted to share was the fact that every single person I've met in the last 8 or 9 months now has been somebody whose area of specialty is completely strange to me, completely new, something I've never seen before. And every single one of those people had to tell me how to navigate their world. I had to tell them my story in a way that made me sound unlike every other person they'd seen before. When you go to a hospital, if you're not working there and you're not visiting, you're the person that everybody is focusing their attention on. So there's really 3 categories of people at a hospital: the workers, the people who need help, and the friends and family and volunteers and loved ones who come along to try to be part of the solution. How do you make that personal over and over and over again? How does a doctor, how does a nurse, how does the person who comes in to take out the garbage or mop the floor, how do they look at the person in room 605 with fresh eyes if it's a different person than the person who was there yesterday or the day before or the week before that? How do you stay focused on the humanity of it? And I think the answer is the stories we tell, the stories we're prepared to listen to and be part of. And I think that I did it automatically because show business has been my life for such a long time. And my goal before show business in the military was to make a friend as fast as I could, so that I was no longer the stranger in a strange land. Most people aren't aware that that's really what's going on. You know, if we want people to help us in a very, very connected and immediate way, we have to tell a story that makes them sit up and say, oh, I never thought about that. And listen harder, listen more closely. And then automatically, because it's our human survival instinct, try to find our own story to connect to that story so that we become a tribe. And you can't explain it, you just have to do it, which means you have to think on your feet. You have to be able to focus on the issue, and at the same time focus on the person who is now in step with you to make that issue better. And so yesterday I was blessed. Every single person I met, every single person I dealt with was engaged, was listening, was paying attention, was willing to think differently about me when I presented myself to them. And that makes all the difference. It makes you feel valued. It makes you feel safer than you did a moment ago. When it's rainy and it's windy and you have a 2-hour drive ahead of you and people you must see to get essential things done, you need to have a tool. You need to have the magic that allows you to connect quickly and effectively in a lasting way that makes them smile when they remember you, that makes them want to see you again, to connect with you again somehow. That's the value of story. So the post I did this morning on Facebook was 2 images. And one was Marine training, and there's all these Marines with their shaved heads, and they're all together lifting a log, a caber. And the picture below, it's the Scots at a Highland game. There's, I don't know, a bunch of them walking in a line. They're all wearing kilts, and the biggest one in the middle is carrying that same caber on one shoulder. It doesn't look like it's facing him in the slightest. So which story do you want to tell? You know, when you come home from basic training, you're going to say, oh man, today was brutal, but we got it done. We got it done. Talk about teamwork. How heavy was that thing? Oh, I have no idea. Okay, that's one story, and good on you. Good on you. Absolutely. That's what the Army needs you to be. They need you to be a unit instead of uni. They need you to be part of a team. Brilliant. Did it work? Great. The Scots, different story. And by the way, if you think caber tossing is something, it's the caber catching event you really want to see. Oh my God. So the stories we tell accomplish something. They accomplish, Carol's going to roll her eyes. I always say there's 3 things. Stories we tell accomplish 3 things. They give us, ourselves, a fresh way of looking at something, right? If we decide that we are the victim, we have always been a victim, and we decide to shift the story and tell it in a different way, we stop being a victim. We start being a volunteer, maybe even a Viking. That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is that we engage other people who may have been on autopilot. But if the story we tell is remarkable enough, we can snap them out of their autopilot. And the minute we do that, they're front and center. They're part of what's going on. Are they having a better day? Absolutely. Immediately. So our story that reframes our point of view and resets their point of view has done something incredible. It has created a whole new energy field. And the energy field is made up of us and them for the first time. We and they become us. Magic. Just like that. And we can do it anytime we want. We just have to be willing, We have to be dissatisfied with where we are, and we have to be curious to wonder where we could be. And imagine all we have to do is tell a story. How incredible is that? So I've been leading up and leading up and leading up, and I'm looking for where it says how long I've been doing this. It doesn't say anything that I can see. So that's okay. Oh, you know what? I could look at the clock. I could look at the clock on the wall that Lawrence put up for me. Thanks, Lawrence. Where do you want the clock? I want it where I can see it. Note to self, maybe look at it. Okay. So I want to show you this. This came out of a box this morning. Now, this is the head. It's a carved head of a flamingo. And I'm very fond of flamingos because they are the most frivolous thing on the planet. I mean, when you think about a flamingo, it has no protective camouflage in its coloring unless it stands in front of pink foam insulation. So useless. And it becomes this color when it eats certain shellfish. So in the dictionary under "you are what you eat," the color flamingo pink is a product of what we ate, what they ate. So that's the first and second thing. The third thing, because of course there's always three, is that it makes me smile that there is an entire species whose, by the way, group categorization, you know how a murder of crows is a group of crows, and there's a flock of this and there's a herd of that. Yeah, okay. So a group of these is called a flamboyance. Darling. So what's not to love? So anyway, the reason there's a slot in this poor little bird's head, it's not that it had a lobotomy or a middle bottom ear, whatever it was. I was at the optometrist a few years ago, and this was sitting on a display, and there was a tiger, and there was a dolphin, and there was, I don't know, a bunch of an eagle, I think, and then this, and I said, oh my God, look at that. What is this for? And the optometrist said, it's to hold your glasses. And I said, what? I wear them. I'm at the optometrist. Oh, well, of course it is, because, by the way, slot, 3 glasses. And I said, oh. And the optometrist who had come to know me said, why, what were you thinking? And I said, well, and I opened my purse and I took out my business cards and I said, I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. So ever since, this is my business card holder. And you know what? It's on my desk at my home. Like, no one sees it unless they stop by. You know who it entertains and amuses enormously? Me. Why? Because guilty by association. If this bird is flamboyant, so am I. Just by definition. Is that fabulous or what? So the other story I want to tell happened this morning. I heard a noise outside my apartment. Now, I've only been here a short time. You know, many years ago, I went out with a long distance truck driver, and somebody said to me, wow, so how long have you guys been together? And I said, well, if it's consecutive, in terms of days, not that long, really, because he keeps leaving and going someplace else for a long time, and then he comes back. So we've either been together a couple of years or 3 days in a row, and so everything is always fresh and new. And the person looked at me and said, it's got to be exhausting being inside your head. And I said, oh, you don't know the half of it. So the last thing I want to say about stories today is this. I have every day the opportunity to choose. And I'm aware that I have the opportunity to choose. I've made myself aware because I write it down. Every night I write down the thing that happened to me that was something to be grateful for, even if it was difficult and it was a lesson that was painful. I write it down because I'm tracking my journey. I'm not going to publish it. It's for me. It's for me to look back and say, wow, yeah, that was a complex day. And this day was incredible. The thing is, though, my story about writing these things down is a decision I made a year ago, really. To change the way I was thinking about the things that are unfolding around me. And I began by saying, my focus, my intention are on joy and abundance. That's my focus. That's my intention. And I didn't define it. I didn't say, I have a vision board and I want this by this time and I want that by that time. I just said, my focus is joy. My intention is abundance. And I said it every day. When I came in and I sat down in my office, I wrote it down. Every day. When I went to bed, I went through thinking about the events. And if something was difficult or something was crazy or something was fun or something was magical, I wrote it down. And then I looked at what I had written down and I said, this is what I'm taking away. This is what I'm choosing to take away. I can take away anything I want. This is my story. I can take away anything I want. Because the summary of what I experienced, I can now direct and focus. And I can remember it tomorrow when I sit down in my office again and I say, my focus is joy. My intention is abundance. And this really interesting thing began to happen. I was maybe 6 weeks into the saga of the hospitals. And it was exhausting. I was so busy and so focused and so purposeful in being in the right place at the right time to do the right thing, that there was no time. I believed and I chose there was no time for me to do anything but that. So I had to organize myself to within an inch of my life to, come home, take off the boots, take off the coat, put down the heavy bag that has everything written on it, take everything out of the bag, do what I need to do, make this meal, set that aside, throw that in the laundry, eat something, calm myself down, slow down, pick up the journal and write. This was what happened today. My focus is joy and abundance. And I noticed, as I was saying, that about 6 weeks of it in, I was feeling my shoulders less tense. Not while I was driving on the highway where there were no lights and I had to drive between the transport trucks to light my way. No, shoulders still tense, knuckles still white, because the rest of the time, though, I felt like I had gained back something. I felt less pushed, maybe, and more walking here, more leading the charge. Not, hey, presto, not 100%, but the beginning of it. And that feeling has grown a little bit, gradually. I'm not looking for, seeking out, chasing. I'm not driven by joy and abundance, joy and abundance. I'm not doing it as a as a haka or a haiku or whatever. I just know that that's what I'm doing. And it's beginning to permeate a lot of the parts of me. And I'm smiling more. I'm complaining less. I'm still tracking the things that drive me crazy. But I'm owning what I choose to do with them rather than allowing them to overwhelm me. The other day when I yelled at somebody and hung up on them twice, I felt terrible. And then I realized that I had done it for a different reason than I used to. I had done it to tell people, that's not allowed here. These are the rules. In the past, I would have done it because I was lashing out. I was paying back. This was not a payback. This was a tap on the wrist. So my story is evolving. My story is changing in ways that I'm very pleased with. It's giving me more control and more power and more joy. And in terms of box, it's a great deal more abundance than I had thought of. So what I really want to say today about the story and the way we tell it is there's absolutely nothing wrong, nothing negative, nothing hopeless about a photograph, a picture of 10 Marines lifting a caber together as part of their training. That's an incredible scene. There's also nothing wrong with a picture of Scotsmen at a Highland Games with one guy with the caber on his shoulder, like he's bringing home his lunch. Both stories are brilliant. Both stories are fun. Both stories are designed to attract attention in a way that surprises and amuses and educates and entertains and builds a tribe of like-minded people thinking similar things. It creates an opportunity for us to say, oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, what a hoot. And gives permission to share the laugh, the joy, the fun, and the comments. That's why it's called social media, right? We're connecting in ways that make a difference. So my goal today, after the video, I need to figure out why I'm not seeing any more comments, but I know they're there because I'm hearing them. And I'm hearing the little click and ping. I'm just not seeing them. So it's me, I guess. And I'll figure that out. Billy will help me. So in the meantime, between now and next week, there are so many things we're all longing to do as soon as the rain stops in this part of the world. And I know that there are so many things that the rest of us are all longing to do for very different reasons. And my tasks over the next 4 or 5 days, I was hoping to be completely moved in and settled by the 30th of April. It's taking a little bit longer, but that's okay. The reason it's okay is I am discovering and uncovering and experiencing and sharing more things than I expected that I would. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Between now and next Tuesday, when I hopefully will have figured this out with the comments and everything, because I haven't ignored you. I know you're there, and I will reply when I go back on the platforms. I want to say this. You being part of this video journey with me is the beginning of a whole new chapter for us, together and separately. It is the beginning of an opportunity to rethink the way we tell our stories to each other. It's the beginning of an opportunity to understand and practice leaning in together. Action, reaction. connecting the dots that span the globe. One of the things that they say about military brats, that we are global children, before global was even a thing, that we lived in global villages before anyone knew what that was. And now, thanks to the internet, we all are global villagers. It doesn't matter where we hang our hat. If we are here together in this moment, that is what matters. If we take away something that we relish, we enjoy, we are grateful for, bonus, 100% bonus. And that's my hope, that whatever it is that is coming to you, that you are working your way through, that you are rising above, that you are celebrating, that you're spiking the ball with, that you are holding on for dear life through, we're in this together. We're all in the boat. We're all here for each other. That's how it works. And I'm here for you. So until I see you next time, until I see your comments on social media, you know the drill. Be good to you. You deserve it. And remember to hug your loved ones, because they deserve it too. Okay, now I'm going to figure out how I stop this, and then I'm going to go and check to see what you said so that I can reply to you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks for watching.